Alright, I'm back again, and it's nice and early. Interesting development. I received a message last night on Facebook, and I went to reply to it, and it said, "Oh, you have been banned for multiple violations." So I was like, okay, I'm going to look into this. So I went through, and I could see where my violations of the terms of service or whatever, their guidelines. And there was one. Now, I'm not sure exactly what it was for because this was back in August and you could not see the details. But if I remember correctly, what this was about was someone had ripped off a bunch of people for thousands of dollars and then blocked them where they could not message him. And I happened to come across a screenshot where he was selling, I believe it was Kratom is the name, on Facebook Marketplace. And so out of his home. And so I took a screenshot and shared it to them and said, hey, if you want to know where your money went, he bought this and is reselling it out of his home on the Facebook Marketplace. And apparently Facebook thought that meant I was selling a controlled substance. And I was like, no, I'm not. But they denied my appeal because apparently that don't matter. But there's been nothing since. That's the only infraction. And even then it wasn't really actually an infraction. But the post on the Facebook Marketplace, to my knowledge, is still there. It was last time I looked, like 3 weeks ago or something like that, a month ago. But my post of raising the alarm to the people that this person ripped off, that's what violated the guidelines. But there's been no indication of what I did wrong. I have found a nonprofit organization. I will post their details if something comes of this, and I will provide an update. I was able to get an email address for Facebook, and if that don't work, then they are a nonprofit advocate. I'll see what they can do, and if they actually do something, I'll be sure and post a video in support of them. Now, before anyone says anything, this is not a violation of my First Amendment rights. Censorship, oh yes it is. This is blatant censorship. They did not provide me any reason for what I did wrong. There's no avenue to appeal the decision, because I don't even know what I would be appealing. Not that there's a way to appeal it anyway. A formal way. So it is censorship. I mean, the worst thing I have said in quite a while is what I said yesterday about, everyone, the two main parties are so, I guess, why would they storm the Capitol? It's like, well, this is what happens when you spend decades telling them the world will end. The world as you know it will end if the other party gets elected. You do that long enough, and what do you think is going to happen? And I don't, considering the fact that there are people who were posting about need to burn the Capitol down, and they're still posting this morning, that tells me that can't be it. So yes, it is censorship. But unless I were able to find where the government itself told Facebook to censor me, it is not the First Amendment. It does state Congress, the First Amendment does state Congress shall pass no law restricting the freedom of speech. The fact of the matter is that has been expanded to include the government under the Fourth Amendment, I believe it was. But unless the government has been directing Facebook, and I wouldn't even know where to look to find that information, no, not First Amendment violation, just censorship. And this is where that Section 230 comes into play, because they are a publishing platform, I think it is, and they have no liability under Section 230 for anything posted on there. But they are censoring posts, especially posts that are not what they agree with personally on a political level, or yeah. So I don't necessarily want Section 230 to go away, because I think that is why probably why my YouTube channel is still around, truth be told. It gives certain protections to certain groups. That would otherwise just be wiped off the planet. I think that's why a lot of guns or Second Amendment or gun-oriented channels and pages are still up. So I don't have an issue necessarily with Section 230. What I have an issue is you have these big platforms that are trying to have their cake and eat it too. And we, the people, have no avenue of recourse under the system as it currently exists. And I do think there needs to be something happen along that lines to hold them accountable. You know, if you want to be a publisher and exempt from punishment for something someone posts on your site, great. I actually like that idea. But if you're going to go around censoring people, especially censoring non-violent posts, non-inflammatory posts, or in my case, censoring without telling people why you're censoring them, what they did wrong, then there needs to be an avenue of recourse against them to uphold the fairness, to prevent discriminatory practices. Again, not a violation of my First Amendment, but personally I consider that a breach of contract. But who am I to say? All I will say is things need to change. If you're going to censor posts, you have to have an avenue of recourse. You have to let them know what they did wrong. You have to give them an ability to appeal that decision. Plain and simple to the point. Facebook isn't, in my case, is not doing that. And if you're going to fight for protections under the law from any type of issues regarding posts on your page, then you can't just go around censoring willy-nilly. No. So I think that's something we can all agree with. Like I said, when I have an update, I'll let you know. And if this advocacy group pans out and they're able to assist me, I will definitely, no matter what, I'll have a follow-up video. If they can help me, I will be sure and make sure they get all the credit they deserve. Let me know what you think. Later.